I'm Ashton Addison from EventChain for InvestmentPitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Tascha Punyaneramitdee, co-founder of Alpha Finance Labs. Tascha, welcome to the show, and thanks for taking the time to be here today.
Hi, Ashton. Thank you for having me too.
I'm really excited to dive into Alpha Finance. The DeFi world inside of cryptocurrency has been really crazy recently, and I know your team is working hard to stay on top of what's going on with the latest in DeFi, help grow the space. And I would love for you to just kick it off with a high-level overview and what is the current focuses of Alpha Finance Labs, and then we can dive into the details.
Sure. Yeah. So Alpha Finance is a DeFi lab. And what that means is we are building and incubating many DeFi products and DeFi projects. So the end goal that we're looking to achieve, right, is to create a DeFi ecosystem. So pretty much like a banking system on blockchain that will not only serve retail users in DeFi, but also institutional users. So definitely need to, achieve a lot of milestones to tap into the large institutional clientele that we have now in traditional finance.
Definitely. And yeah, there's a lot of infrastructure that's going to be needed to bring DeFi up to speed with traditional finance is so intricate. And there's a lot of pieces to that. What are the pieces that your team is most focused on right now?
Yeah, so we just launched Alpha Oracle Aggregator, as well as Alpha Homora V2, which is the product that also uses Alpha Oracle Aggregator. So, when you talk about infrastructure, that ties, really closely to Alpha Oracle Aggregator. And what it is the first, Oracle aggregator in DeFi in a sense that, typically a DeFi project would use one Oracle, be it, Oracle A or Oracle B, C, D, right? I don't want to name the names in the show here, but, that's a typical route in which one project uses one Oracle. And that's because the Oracle itself already aggregates from multiple providers. So it's still not centralized anyways. It would aggregate a lot from the other providers already. But the reason that we decided to go with the Alpha Oracle Aggregator, which is what we created ourselves, is that, there's still some, downsides with using one data Oracle, in our opinion, because it limits the scalability, it limits the flexibility, which are really needed nowadays in DeFi. As you see, DeFi has grown really fast and also grown beyond Ethereum. We always have to keep, a look out into which chain, which, layer 2 solutions we want to go into. And that requires a lot of flexibility and scalability needed on DeFi project side. So, with Alpha Oracle Aggregator, it ensures security, scalability, and flexibility. So the three key areas that we want to optimize as we grow the whole Alpha Finance out.
Definitely. And it's great to be able to integrate multiple protocols together because, as you mentioned, there is Ethereum. The majority of DeFi trading, lending is going on the Ethereum blockchain, it seems. But there are those issues, the scalability issues, especially when you need to bring in oracles, which some people that are just getting into decentralized finance aren't always familiar exactly with the point of needing oracles or what is an oracle and how does it apply to trading in a decentralized way. If you could elaborate on that a little bit more, I think it would shed some light into why the oracle is needed for the aggregator.
Yeah, so imagine one single DeFi product being a line of code. These line of codes added together called smart contract. So this smart contract doesn't know what price, Ethereum or Wrap Bitcoin or, Alpha is, right? So if the DeFi product itself supports these tokens, let's say with Alpha Homora, it supports lending of ETH, USDT, for instance, right? So with these two assets, the product itself in the line of codes will not be able to know what's the current price right now. So it has to, need to have a way to pull the data from somewhere else. So the line of code will say that, okay, if you need to get this data, then you pull from this Alpha Oracle Aggregator. And then the Alpha Oracle Aggregator, which is another smart contract, will be the one that aggregates the price from multiple data oracles that we work with, which right now we are working with Chainlink and BAND Protocol to gather all those information and then, finally have the data that is needed on the product itself.
Very cool. Thank you for that explanation. And yeah, it's definitely going to be needed. And Chainlink and BAND Protocol are both seem to be growing exponentially right now in their use case because so many DeFi platforms need oracles for these price feeds. And you did mention before that you're looking at blockchain agnostic, whether it's not just Ethereum, but as the DeFi ecosystem expands to other blockchains as well, it might make it harder to manage a single oracle. Can you talk about, with regards to the current oracles that you're working with, is it majority on Ethereum, or are you already branched out into other blockchains?
Yeah, so the oracles that we work with are on Ethereum and also the other blockchains as well, and which is also why we are comfortable with these oracles that we decided to go with. In terms of Alpha Finance products itself, we are on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, and then we're looking to grow into a number of more chains going forward, which have already been supported by these oracle providers that we're working with.
That's great. And I was reading into the Uniswap, which is one of the most popular decentralized exchanges right now. They just moved to version 3. It's supposed to have a lot more functionality. The liquidity seems like it's still merging over right now, and I'm not sure if it's fully been merged yet. But is that something that changes how the Oracle aggregator works for Alpha? Are you helping, aiming to help grow Uniswap and the other decentralized exchanges to bring these oracles to those kind of exchanges to help them grow even faster?
Good question. So, Uniswap v3 also comes with an improved TWAP or time-weighted average price oracle, which gives, it has different pros and cons comparing to the typical data oracle that we use, let's say from Chainlink and BAND Protocol. So there are different pros and cons, but definitely it's something that we're looking to add Uniswap v3 TWAP as another oracle in Alpha Oracle Aggregator too, because it has different pros and cons. The cons that, Chainlink and BAND Protocol may have more than Uniswap TWAP can be addressed by the pros of Uniswap v3 TWAP. But then that also means that there are some cons with adding this TWAP as well. So we need to make sure we adjust to make sure it's all consistent. So that's in terms of how we're looking to bring or merge the integration between Uniswap v3 TWAP and also Alpha Oracle Aggregator. But in terms of the product itself, that doesn't change how Uniswap v3 works. That doesn't change how Alpha products works. It works just the same. And we're also looking to support Uniswap v3 as a product on our product.
Mm-hmm. That's great to know, Tascha. And Uniswap has just become so popular. I remember back in the summer of 2020 when Uniswap v2, they did an airdrop for the early users, and there really wasn't a lot of value locked in these decentralized protocols. I think it's exponentially higher now. How has your team made its way through the shift from DeFi growing so exponentially? Was this a product that you had designed when the value locked was a lot smaller, and has the strategy of going to market with the Oracle aggregator shifted as the exponential growth in the value locked in DeFi moved so quickly since last year?
Yeah, so once the DeFi summer came and yield farming comes, and we saw that this is an incentive structure that is not going to go away soon, right? Once one project has it, the other projects would also need to have it, unless they don't want to bootstrap liquidity, which all the projects would want to do that. So once we saw that huge opportunity, then we decided to create Alpha Homora, which is the first leveraged yield farming product in DeFi. And it has grown significantly. So it also was growing with DeFi. As DeFi total value lock grows, Alpha Homora also grows. And that's also pretty much led us to why we built Alpha Homora v2, which is an expanded version, a lot more functionalities, a lot more AMMs that we work with. And we just launched that yesterday. So it's a pretty busy month here at Alpha Finance.
Definitely, and congratulations on that. And I will definitely check out that farming from Alpha. And I'm guessing that somehow ties into the Alpha token. I was looking into the tokenomics of Alpha. Maybe you could touch on the main functionality of the Alpha token inside the platform. Is it required for Homora and for the Oracle aggregator? And does it create a sustainable ecosystem inside of Alpha?
Yep. So it ties, very closely to the whole Alpha ecosystem in terms of usage and also in terms of value accrual. So if you have Alpha right now, you can stake your Alpha tokens on this site called tokenomics.alphafinance.io, which is on Ethereum. What that does is that it allows you to accrue more Alpha by staking, right? And these additional Alpha that you're accruing is coming from the protocol fees that we collect from Alpha Homora, V1, V2, and on BSC as well. And if you ask, where do we charge the protocol fees? That's pretty much comes from 10% of the borrowing interest rate that the leveraged farmers are paying. So it ties, very nicely in terms of the higher usage the products grows, the more value accrual it goes back to Alpha stakers. And the funds that Alpha stakers are staking, these are the funds that are, additional insurance for the whole Alpha ecosystem. So each Alpha product has its own, insurance protocol or insurance parameters already. But if additional insurance is needed, then this additional funds in Alpha staking would be the cushion for that.
That's very exciting. And that's live right now. I'm guessing that you guys are continuing to work on it. You mentioned there's future versions. Can you give a glimpse into? I know you just made this announcement, and what are the a glimpse into the next steps over the next month or two on what your team is focused on now that you've made this release?
Yeah. So as I mentioned in the beginning, that Alpha Finance is a DeFi lab, and we need a model or an infrastructure that will allow us to grow and scale into a full-fledged DeFi lab, right? Without adding, fixed costs to our team, without adding centralization to our team. So we are announcing, that this month in terms of what that is and how will that really much bring Alpha Finance Lab to be a full-fledged DeFi lab. And we're pretty much looking forward to that. And, we've been working on that for several months and have been keeping it quite low because we wanted to make sure we, got everything right before we announced to the community.
Definitely. We'll definitely be looking forward to that announcement. And we are running short on time, but I want to look way down the road for Alpha Finance, and I want to hear what you think would be one of the top key success factors for having Alpha Finance be a long-term success with widespread adoption throughout DeFi.
Yeah, so I would say long-term success that I imagine are more of three angles. One angle is within Alpha Finance Lab itself. It's an ecosystem, like a full-fledged ecosystem, right? Multiple products that we build, multiple products that we incubate are working together. Value accrual is very strong. And pretty much it's an ecosystem that you cannot just fork, right? Because it has an inherent value that grows with it. So that's number one. The second one is that we are looking to also grow our, ties with institutional clients, because we know that there's a huge demand for institutions to tap into these yields in DeFi and also to move with the technology, right? So we also want to make sure that we have the materials and the products, the infrastructure ready to be able to support that. And then the third is that, while retail right now in DeFi may not contribute much to the whole DeFi ecosystem, I am imagining that, as DeFi grows and if DeFi will, exist more and more concurrently with the traditional finance, then retail would need to have the right education, the right, understanding of risk, understanding of rewards, to make sure that they invest accordingly. So we're looking to make sure we educate that a lot more through our UX UI, through our educational programs, and make sure that we tap into, not only just institutional clients, but also the mass retail that haven't adopted DeFi yet.
Definitely, there's so much more adoption to come. The growth has been exponential, but it's still less than a small percentage of 1%. Even just of the cryptocurrency industry. So I'm excited to watch how Alpha Labs grows, along this time. And for the viewers that are also want to follow along with Alpha Finance and those announcements that you said you're going to be making, what's the best way for them to get involved in the community and start learning more about the products?
Yeah, so Twitter would be the first place if you want to, hear the quick updates on anything. It's Alpha Finance Lab on Twitter. So that would be, the updates. If you want to talk to the team or you want to talk to the community, then we also have a group on Discord and Telegram. So all these links are also on the Twitter site. So you would be able to, access these links easily.
Sounds great, Tascha. I will leave the link to Twitter and Alpha Finance site in the description box below for the viewers as well. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on to talk about Alpha Finance. Congratulations on the recent announcements. All the best moving forward in the DeFi space, and let's follow up in the near future.
Thank you, Ashton.